Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this episode of G-Bear's Off-Grid Ways, Homestead in the Desert. And we're over here at the big water tank because I got the floating pump in there this morning. And I'll show you here, it's got my controller is here, and that is not MPPT. That's another lie from the Chinese. But anyway, it works on here. It's 14.1 right now. Battery is at full charge, so I'm basically floating because you see nothing is moving here. And then this little thing up here is a 12-volt timer switch, digital timer. And originally I bought like 4 of these, but I could only find one. I had to figure out what I did with the other 3. But they're fairly easy to connect and set up and all of that. And that connects through this black wire. I had to extend the wire a little bit. And that goes up through there and goes up inside of the big tank through the top cover. And then where the wire goes through, I stuffed it with some of that those plastic scrubbies that you use for cleaning dishes so that bugs can't crawl in through there. So anyway, it's right now it's in its rest state. I've got the timer for it to run like 2 hours on, 1 hour off all day long. And then once the nighttime comes, it's set to not run at all through the whole night. But the solar panel will keep on charging the battery all the way up until sunset. So I'll get a good movement of water inside of the tank with that. And the way I designed this room, of course it's insulated here. The wall of that actually acts as a water wall and keeps it warm inside of here, even in the freezing temperatures of winter, because this is where my filters are. This filter comes off of the blue barrels that go around. That one takes the whole tank. And then every time I'm going to reload the tank with fresh water, I shut off the valve there. I take the bottom part of the filters off and clean them or replace them as needed. And then of course I've got a T-valve here to shut off the water bypass that goes in, and I've got another valve lever here that's made into the filter itself. So it's in the off position now. Downward it would be filtering, and if it's off to that side, it's bypass. So I'll set them when I'm filling the tank. I open this one and set this one to bypass, so it actually fills the water back into the blue barrels and raises them up at the same time the tank is filling. And then I shut them off afterwards, so I'm not feeding out of the blue barrels into my house water. I have a hose bib right here, a keyed hose bib, so somebody can't just turn it on and drain me, and another shut-off valve up here. So I can shut this off, and I can connect a hose to this and run it down to the garden house and drain the water out of the blue barrels to fill up the garden house totes. And I got a loose hinge on this door I'm going to have to come back and fix. So anyway, wanted to show you that. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, just perfect. So anyway, wanted to get started on that part. Now we're going to head on down, because I did promise somebody I would show them what was going on. That was Jim with the PowerJack inverter. Okay, so let's head inside of here. I pulled a cover on it, but long before I pulled the cover, I had figured out what the problem was. Nothing surprising, just a lying Chinese. All right, 8,000 watt, low frequency, pure sine wave, 8,000 watt, 120 amp. Okay, 32,000 watt peak surge. All right, so Giant letters there. You can't miss that. You say, oh my God, that's going to be a great inverter. 8,000 running and 32,000 surge. But then look at they got down here in fine print. Low frequency, 8,000 watt. And then they tell you that all the way along here, the highest draw you can put on it is 2,000 watts. All the way through. It's 8,000 watts with 32,000 watt surge. But on this little fine print thing down here, 2,000 watts is the highest. Okay, so we get over here to air water pump. Okay, so my water pump, maximum 1,200 watts. Not over 1,200 watts. Now, why can't I run a 1,200 watt or 1,250 watt pump on an 8,000 watt inverter? Liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay, so that's what's going on there. All right, so I took the cover off of this thing, and there's the coil. Now, this thing weighs about 57 pounds. The Ames weighs 75 pounds. So there's a difference right there. So all the weight is in this one coil right here. So the coil that's in the Ames is going to be bigger than this one because it's only a 4,000 watt, but this one's 8,000 watt. It should be twice the size of the Ames, but I'll guarantee that the one inside the Ames is bigger than this. So they got 4 heat sinks in here, and then they've got the control board on top here. And it's put together fairly decent. I could have to say that much. The wires are all tight. It's got 2 sets of wires cut on the end, but they're bust on the inside here. So I never knew that they were bust on the inside, so I bust them on the outside. So that's interesting. That they are bust on the inside. So if anybody has one, there's no need to tie them together outside here like I did. And I was actually going to make up a flat copper bus bar or a brass bus bar to put across the outsides. But they already have a brass bus bar on the inside, so you don't have to do that. All right, everybody. So we got that one settled. So that's what's going on with this unit. Okay, it wasn't too dusty inside. You can still, there's some dust in here, but no overheating. Looking at any of the panels or the boards or anything like that. I usually went in there whenever I did my maintenance on my batteries and blew this out with my air compressor. So it usually stayed pretty clean. There's some dust on the blades of the fan. I could take out the 4 screws, take the cover off, wash the cover, and then take a damp rag and clean the blades of the unit, but it didn't seem to affect it. It wasn't really the big deal. The biggest deal is they lied about how much power this thing will handle. All right, so we got that settled. So next in line, we're going to head down to the garden house because I was asked to show some of the things that can grow in the desert. Well, on the way down, mulberry trees will grow in the desert. I've got mulberry trees growing. The biggest problem out here, you see the white tubes on the trunks of the trees. The reason for that is rabbits, squirrels, and that kind of stuff will chew through the bark, eat all the bark off the bottoms of the trees, and then climb up into the trees and eat all the tops of them off. So you definitely want to put those white, that's 3-inch white plastic drain pipe, really inexpensive at Home Depot. Just cut it up and then slice it down one side, and then about every foot put 2 screws in there, so leaving the heads up about a 1/4 inch, and then just lace them up together with a piece of wire. Real easy to do, and a little extra protection for your plants. Also, the white part keeps the hot desert sun from cooking the trunk of your tree. And also keeps ants from climbing. Something about white that ants don't like. All right. So, going into the Garden of Eating. I've got flowers on my zucchinis. So yes, you can grow zucchini. You can grow celery. You can grow lettuce. You can grow peaches. See my peaches? I got peaches. Lots of peaches up there. You can grow pears. This is a graft I just did just before Andy left. And I grafted it onto the apple rootstock. What's a stark? The apple rootstock. That's a sucker that was growing off the rootstock. So I grafted a pear onto there that I cut off over here because it was growing right out of here, right over the top of this apple. And this is a Fuji apple. Oops, I got a broken leaf there. This is a Fuji apple graft that I did a while back from Andy Street. And you can see it's taken, it's doing a great job. And this is a Sharon apple. And you can almost see, I don't know if I can get it in close enough so you can see it, but you can see the strange looking omega cut. That's what I do with that grafting tool that I purchased. It's like a pair of scissors type pliers type thing, and it has a blade on there where you can cut that shape, and it gives you a much larger area of cambium layer to make contact. So that one took really well, and you can see it's got actually got a bud coming out of the center right there. I probably won't get apples on this year, but next year we'll probably see some on there. So, but you can grow that. Okay, this is cabbage, and this was last year's cabbage, but I just keep cutting off the stems and letting it regrow. See, like this one here I cut off yesterday, and it's going to regrow out of there and out of there. And why? Because great delicious greens for the chickens. So I feed those greens to the chickens on a couple of times a week, and they love it. Okay, this is apricot tree. This thing has tripled in size this year alone. So this, when I put it in last year, it was only down to here, but you can see it's way up now, and it's doing really well. It'll probably be 3 years before I see fruit on that, but you can grow those out here. Tomatoes, you can grow those out here. You can grow all types of herbs. They're fine. That's another pear tree over there, and I've got some grafts on there, some apple grafts that have taken, so that one will produce both pears and apples down the line. Citrus trees. You can grow citrus trees in the desert, but they need to be protected in the winter. Inside of those boxes that I did for the trees, I can build a little tent type unit that I put over there. And what are all these bottles here for? In the winter time, you fill your bottles with water, you put them all around the tree, and you put them up close to the tree like that, okay? And then you fill in as many more as you can, and the sun will come through the plastic walls of the tent during the day and warm that water up. And that water will hold heat to keep it above freezing inside the tent at night so that the citrus tree can keep on living. All right, basil, sweet basil. Plant that around your tomatoes, get the sweetest tomatoes ever. I've got flowers on a lot of my tomato plants, so I'll be getting some from there. I picked all my fava beans today so that I can see some more sprout off of there. Grapes, okay, those are Thompson seedless purple grapes. These are Thompson seedless green grapes. And yeah, I got loads of grapes Loads of grapes this year again. So these are good table grapes. I can make wine out of them. It'll be a sweet wine. But I won't have enough grapes to really do anything for wine this year. So these will all just be munching grapes. Just pluck a bunch of them like this and sit down in the shade and eat them. Okay, that's another Thompson seedless purple grape over there. And that's a clone off of that one. So they're both coming up just fine. And we'll see something down the line. Spinach, you can grow spinach. Asparagus, or as I like to say, asparagus. I got asparagus growing. Swiss chard. That's another pear tree over there. Never produced any pears, but I did graft some apple and some Bosc pear grafts onto it, which took. So down the line, I'll get some fruit from those. This is another peach tree. And peach trees will grow out here, so you can do the peach trees also. More cabbage, broccoli, parsley. That's the Italian parsley, and the ruffled parsley is over there. Rosemary, dill, all of the different herbs. They all will grow. Those are just some shade trees. I found seed pods on some trees in a restaurant parking lot. And there were some on the ground, so I picked those up and sprouted the seeds. Those trees are about 4 years old now. That's a volunteer tree that came out of one of my old customers' yards. Oh, can do that stuff. That's also some cabbage from last year. It's going to go to seed. I'll get some cabbage seed off of it, and then the greens get served to the chickens. Aloe vera. Got to have some of that for your skin. You always need aloe vera. Catnip. Another citrus tree from seed right there. Okay, that's a Tangelo. Apple trees with multiple grafts. There's 5 different types of apples on that apple tree. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. You can grow that. Carrots, you can grow that. All right. This is pomegranate. Okay, now remember with pomegranate, you got to have more than one pomegranate tree. So there's 3 or 4 of them in there. So that should end up producing pretty well. Fig, you can grow fig. Peach, these are volunteer peaches off the other peach trees I have. 1, 2, 3 of them. Okay, a non-king cherry. You can grow cherry trees out here. This is another prunus tree. I'm not sure. This one that was a gift so I'm not sure what it is. This one is a avocado, and the avocados will grow out here, but you have to protect them in the winter. I moved that into the greenhouse for the winter. Okay, that's purslane in the bottom there. That's a very, very good, healthy herb. You can just pluck it off and eat it, and it is really delicious. And you can eat it stem and all. All right. So I got rosemary and oregano and parsley and dill. All that stuff will grow. Onions and garlic, they grow. Sunflower, they'll grow. I got more onions over here. I got all the different peppers here. Jalapeno, bell peppers, poblanos, ranchos, the Anaheims. All of that stuff will grow. Strawberries will grow. That strawberries over there too. And again, that's the Swiss chard. Okay. Lavender, blueberry, lemon, raspberry, kale, onion, garlic up in there, red onion, more onion in here mixed in with cilantro. Cilantro has gone to seed. I'll wait for these to go brown, and then I'll harvest those seeds, use it for coriander cooking, and save some seeds for planting of next year. And once it gets hot, the cilantro doesn't last very long. It goes to seed very quick. It'll bolt. But if you can plant it in the shade, under a tree like this, you could probably do progressive plantings all year long and keep your cilantro growing. All right, everybody. That's what I wanted to cover. So this pear tree will produce both pears and apples when it's ready. And then once my apricot gets a little stronger, I'll graft some apricot onto my peach, and I'll graft some peach onto my apricot. So they actually will help, what do they call that? When pollinate. There you go. That's the word I was missing. They'll help pollinate each other because they'll be relatives. And any tree that needs pollination will grow. This Alberta peach is an early Alberta. It does not need to be pollinated by another tree. Same with that one over there. But it never hurts to have a couple of different varieties around. And even if they need to be pollinated, you've got the stuff to do it with, right? All right, everybody. That's all I got for today. We'll cover things down the line. Questions and comments down below. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up down there, like my videos, and don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. This is G Bear signing off.